Hi there, Deacon John Wilson here, West Angeles again, part 2 of my affirmative action video. I want to talk about actually what happened. I'll start off, I want to share with you a very interesting video that I think will help us to understand this whole issue here. I'll have that for you in just a moment.
Julia, what do we know at this point?
Well, that's right. Affirmative action has been blocked both for private and public colleges. This is in the UNC case and in the Harvard case. We thought there may be a split where they might say that it's unconstitutional for public universities taking public money, but perhaps not for private. But they've said in both cases, college admissions cannot consider race as they try to diversify their student bodies. Now, this is overturning a 2000.
So see right there, a lot of people educators felt it would just apply to UNC and not to the private school. I knew it wouldn't because the way the questioning went and when it was discussed in February, but also you had the UNC case combined with the Harvard case. They were going to rule on both. And I felt if they were going to rule on both, this decision was inevitable. Let's go on.
2003 opinion by then Justice Sotomayor, who said at that time, we hope in 25 years we won't have to look at race as a consideration in college, but that's just not the makeup of our country right now. Well, it's been 20 years, and these justices have said that the court, according to this opinion today, that they think that race should no longer be a consideration as colleges try to diversify. Going back to oral arguments, we heard then from Chief Justice Roberts saying, look, he basically saw it as being more racist in violation of Title 14 to look at race in considering who should be admitted to college. Harvard tried to argue this is just like trying to get an oboe player on our orchestra. We would look out for oboe players just like we would look at race and trying to diversify our student body. At the time, Chief Justice Roberts said no, because we didn't have a civil war over oboe players and we did over race. This will, of
I have to say, I really like that quote. When you have analogies, folks, they got to be equal. The oboe players and musicians is not the same as, unfortunately, why we fought the Civil War, which is on race, which is on slavery and race. Not states' rights, by the way, but that's another whole conversation.
course have historic impacts going forward as colleges try to diversify their student bodies, looking at other things like geographical factors, poverty, any adversity that students have overcome, but they can no longer look at race.
See, that's what I was saying last video. I need these colleges to go off and think about this some more. You like the word adjacent, right? That's a popular term, I hear on the left. There are a lot of poor Black race adjacent, let's just say race adjacent ways to get at your issue. You can get at economic status. I know you think you can't look at the financial aid data, but there's ways in your application you can find it out. You already are asking how much they make. You can look at their high school. You can see what area the high school is in. Is it private? Is it public? You can look at that. Not just race. That's what they're trying to say, not race. Okay, let's continue.
It's something that's already happening in 8 states across the country. For example, in the public education system, the public system in California, they cannot look at race there. A lot of colleges have said it's been increasingly hard to keep their student bodies racially diverse.
Not so. The CSU is getting more and more diverse every year. As far as UC goes, get those grades up, we'll get more Black students in. I mean, we have CSUs like, Palo San Luis Obispo that don't have many minorities, and that's because it's a difficult CSU to get into competitively. We got to work on opportunities, like I said in the video before. So in California, I think it's going okay, but it goes on opportunity. That's why you see people try to change it to get more student outcomes with this framework and other things, but that's not the way to go. Let me continue. So that's the reference to California I thought was interesting.
Hard to underestimate how big of a decision this is coming from the Supreme Court today. It may not be surprising given the composition of the court, but it will have long and lasting impacts on how colleges around the country diversify their student bodies without looking at race as a factor.
So that's the idea. They have to learn how to do it without race. And they'll know the race of the students by the high school. Hint, hint. Let's get socioeconomic factors. I mean, wealthy Black families that have students with great grades should be okay. They have great grades in a fair system like this, but they're just good grades trying to go to a school that's very selective. Maybe we're going to look at economic status, and that family has a problem. I don't know how, but they got to figure a way to take it away from being race. They really got to do that. That's very, very important. It's very important. Let's get more into some of the things that actually happen. I will include that video below, not to worry about that, but I also have a terrific article to show you as well. Let me get that for you. So I'll wait and show you the articles in the next video because I really want to get into that in detail, the article. But I'll just close this video by saying, remember, this is a call to work on developing our youth, spirit, soul, and body. And we who believe on God should believe that we can enrich and develop our youth in the way God intended us and solve these extreme family issues we have in our community that the white man is not going to come back to solve. And certainly not some ruling by men in robes and women in robes. God bless you. Bye-bye now.